The day begins to loosen its hold, and the quiet of evening settles around you. Nothing needs to be done now. Nothing needs to be held or carried or fixed. Just allow the soft calm of this moment to rise gently around you, like a warm blanket you didn't realize you were waiting for. Here in this quiet space, the pace of everything slows. Breath eases without effort. Thoughts drift a little farther away, as if the mind itself is stretching out and resting. There is a gentle hush in the air, a sense that the world outside has softened its voice and stepped back. Imagine yourself moving toward a place where time moves differently, where the edges of the day fade into something smooth and comforting, where you can let go of anything sharp or hurried or loud. Here you are safe. Here you can begin to settle. Let the shoulders soften. Let the breath fall without trying to shape it. The body knows how to relax when it feels supported, and this moment supports you completely. Warmth grows in small places at first, then spreads quietly, easing tension like a slow tide, returning to shore. The quiet deepens. You can sense it in the way your chest rises and falls, in the way your thoughts grow lighter, less urgent, in the way your whole being begins to tilt gently toward stillness. You may notice a kind of spaciousness opening inside you, wide and calm. It isn't something you have to create. It simply appears when the world around you becomes gentle enough. And it is gentle now. Imagine the soft rhythm of rain beginning somewhere in the distance. Not a storm, not a downpour, just a delicate pattern of drops touching leaves and earth. Slow, even, steady. The sound moves toward you like a natural lullaby, each drop landing with a tiny whisper, each whisper smoothing the breath, each bit of sound settling into the quiet places inside you. The more you notice it, the easier everything becomes. It doesn't ask for attention. It doesn't demand anything. It simply arrives and begins to soothe, the way only rain can soothe. Picture yourself standing at the edge of an ancient forest. Though you don't need to see it clearly, just sense its presence. Huge trunks rising like guardians, branches reaching over you with patient strength. A canopy that has watched over the world for centuries. The first touch of rain on leaves above you is soft and delicate. The sound is familiar, steady, and comforting. It feels like something you've known all your life, something that brings you home to yourself. The forest air is cool and gentle. With every breath, it quiets what the day has stirred. Your body responds in small, easy ways. A loosening here, a softening there, a warm, slow heaviness spreading through your limbs. You are not trying to relax. Relaxation finds you on its own. It moves through you with the same rhythm as the rainfall. Steady, peaceful, unhurried. The more you lean into this feeling, the more the mind settles. Thoughts drift farther away, floating at the edges like leaves carried on water. They lose their weight. They lose their urgency. They lose their place in this quiet world. Here in this moment, nothing presses. Nothing pulls. Nothing demands clarity or action. You are suspended in a soft space where time stretches out, slow and gentle. The rain continues overhead, tapping lightly across branches older than memory. Every drop seems to carry a bit of calm with it. A small release, a small invitation, a small reminder that quiet moments can hold you steady. The forest around you settles as well. It exhales with you. It rests with you. It becomes a companion in stillness. Let yourself feel how natural this is, how simple it is to soften when the world around you is soft, how easy it becomes to let warmth return to your breath and your body. The rain drifts through the canopy in delicate patterns, sometimes gentle, sometimes even gentler, always steady enough to bring you deeper into quiet. Each passing moment unwinds another tiny knot inside you. Each sound smooths the space between thoughts. Each breath carries you further into ease. Nothing needs to be held tightly now. Everything can loosen. Everything can drift. Everything can become lighter. In this quiet, your body finds its own rhythm. Your breath finds its own pace. Your mind finds its own gentle settling. There is no need to guide it. It knows the way on its own. The softness around you deepens again. Warmth spreads another layer through your chest and limbs. The air grows still. The world narrows to this single, peaceful moment. Rain continues to fall in its calm, natural pattern, a steady rhythm that quiets whatever remains unsettled, a soothing presence that fills the spaces inside you. This moment holds you, supports you, keeps you grounded in warmth and calm. You are easing into a place where the mind drifts naturally, where the body grows heavy in the best possible way, where calm rises gently from within. Allow yourself to rest in the softness that surrounds you. Let the hush of rainfall carry your thoughts a little farther away. Let your breath move slowly and quietly, all on its own. Here in this gentle beginning, you are fully safe, fully supported, fully allowed to rest. And as the quiet settles more deeply, you can drift into the calm that waits for you, warm and steady, like the soft rain falling over ancient forests. The path begins at the edge of the trees, where the world is still a little bright and open. Air is cooler here, shaded by branches that stretch outward like gentle arms. Steps are easy at first, light on the ground, aware of every sound and shift. Some part of you is still awake to the day, but a softer part is already leaning toward quiet. As you move forward, the forest gathers around you. Trunks rise on either side, tall and steady, holding a deep, patient stillness. The light softens, filtered through leaves and needles, turning sharp edges into something calm. Each step takes you further away from noise and closer to a quieter world. Underfoot, the earth feels soft and forgiving. The path has been walked many times, worn smooth by seasons and years. There is a gentle give with each step, as if the forest floor is willing to hold your weight without question. Moss spreads in small cushions along the edges, thick and deep, drinking in the coolness of the air. The scent here is rich and grounding. Moist soil, old bark, and green growing things blend into a calm, earthy comfort. Breath draws it in naturally, without effort, and some hidden part inside begins to loosen. Awareness is still present, but it is no longer sharp. It is soft, curious, open. Overhead, the canopy stretches like a living roof. Branches curve high above, crossing and weaving, forming a shelter that feels both ancient and kind. Light falls in narrow beams between leaves, moving slowly as you walk. Shadows and brightness shift in a gentle dance, neither too dark nor too bright. A breeze moves through the trees with a quiet hush. Leaves rustle softly, brushing against one another, like whispers passed along. In that sound, there is no hurry and no demand, just the soft reminder that everything here moves in its own slow rhythm. Far away, almost too faint to notice, a low rumble rolls across the sky. It doesn't startle, it doesn't rush. It is simply there, a distant, gentle thunder, like the forest is clearing its throat before the rain arrives. The first cool drop touches the back of your hand. Another lands on a leaf nearby, making a tiny, clear sound. Then another on your shoulder, light as a fingertip. The sky has begun to share its water with the forest. Rain does not fall all at once. It begins in scattered drops, each one finding its place on leaf and bark and earth. You hear it more than you see it. A soft tap above, a faint patter to the side, a delicate ping in the distance. Every sound adds to a growing pattern, a gentle rhythm forming overhead. As the rain increases, the moss-covered trunks seem to absorb the sound and soften it. Water slides along rough bark, darkening its surface and deepening the forest's colors. The ground releases a new scent, damp and clean, like the air itself is being washed. Breath falls easily into step with this rhythm, slower, deeper, calmer. Each step along the path feels a little more rooted. Feet sink just slightly into the softened earth, held by the ground instead of simply resting on it. Awareness of the outside world fades further, and what remains is this simple act of walking through trees and rain. Nothing else presses in. Nothing else is needed. The gentle thunder returns from time to time, rolling softly through the sky. It never comes close, never alarms. It is like a far-off drum, slow and comforting, reminding you that the rain has friends in the clouds above. Sound and silence take turns, creating a calm, steady balance. As the rain finds its rhythm, the forest responds. Leaves bow slightly under the weight of droplets, then spring back as water falls to the ground. Small streams begin to trace thin lines down the sides of roots and rocks. Everywhere, tiny movements carry the water forward, always in a gentle, downward flow. The path narrows a little and bends between two great trunks. They stand close together, tall and strong, moss creeping up their sides in soft green bands. Passing between them feels like crossing a threshold, as if you are being welcomed further into the heart of the forest. Beyond, the sound of rain grows fuller, more complete. Above you, countless leaves catch the falling drops, slowing their descent. Rain pools for a moment, then spills in soft curtains that never strike too hard. The forest canopy turns the storm into a lullaby, changing sharp impacts into muted, soothing sounds. It feels like the trees themselves are taking care of the rain for you, tempering it, making it gentle. The body begins to respond more deeply now. Shoulders hang a little lower, jaw softens, breath stretches out, smooth and even. The difference between in-breath and out-breath becomes smaller, more subtle, like the tide gliding in and out on a quiet shore. Around you, colors deepen with the damp, richer greens, darker browns, softer grays. Even if you do not focus on them, their presence adds weight and calm to the space. Everything feels slower, like the forest has shifted into a lower gear, and you are shifting with it. Alertness is still there, but it is gentle and relaxed, not sharp. The sound of rain now surrounds you from all sides, above on leaves, beside you on bark, below you on earth and stone. It becomes a cocoon of soft, steady noise, wrapping you in a sense of shelter. A quiet understanding settles in. Out there, the world may still be busy, but it cannot reach you here. Not in this path, under these trees, with this rain. The forest has drawn a soft boundary around this moment, a circle of calm that holds you while you walk. Within that circle, everything is slower, and everything is kind. Breath and footsteps fall into the same unhurried pace. In, step, out, step. No need to force it. The body finds the rhythm on its own, guided by the sound of water and the stillness of the trunks. The distant thunder grows softer and less frequent, as if the storm is wandering away or simply settling down. Rain remains, but its intensity has evened out into a constant, predictable pattern. There are no surprises in it, no sudden bursts or changes. Only the comfort of knowing where each sound belongs. Thoughts, if they appear, move more slowly now. They drift in, linger for a breath, then drift out again, carried by the flowing sound. None of them stay long enough to take root. They float like leaves in the shallow water at the side of the path. The forest feels closer with each passing moment. Trunks stand like quiet companions. Branches hold the rain for you. The path beneath your feet supports you without effort. Everything in this place seems willing to share its calm. Eventually, you no longer feel like you are walking through the forest. You feel as if you are part of it. Breath, step, heartbeat, and rainfall weaving together into one slow, steady pattern. Nothing to do, nowhere else to be. The quiet shelter of the trees holds firm around you. Rain continues its soft song. Overhead, the ground stays warm and solid beneath your feet, and all of you settles a little deeper into stillness, like the forest itself is inviting you to rest. And simply be here, in this gentle, quiet path of rain. Rain begins as a soft sprinkle across the canopy above, gentle and light. Small drops find their way onto old branches, tapping in slow, thoughtful rhythms. The sound is calm and steady, like the forest is humming a quiet tune made only for this moment. Awareness stays soft, drifting between the breath and the rainfall. Overhead, the branches stretch wide and deep. Their bark is worn from seasons, grooved and textured, shaped by years of weather and wind. Rain moves across them with ease, gathering in tiny pools before slipping downward. Each drop glides along the rough surface, slow and unhurried, until it reaches the edge and falls. A soft, spaced pattern begins to form. A tap here, a tap there, then another farther away. Each sound finds its place, creating a natural rhythm that settles into the quiet of the forest. Leaves above sway gently as the weight of water collects. Some droplets hold on for a breath before giving in and falling. Others slide across the leaf surface, tracing smooth paths toward the ground. Every movement adds to the peaceful, predictable soundscape forming around you. Branches cross overhead like a woven shelter. Rainfall lands across them in layers, catching, holding, and releasing water in a steady flow. There is comfort in that repetition. The mind relaxes as the world becomes simple again. Just raindrops, old wood, and quiet air. A deeper calm starts to settle in the body. Breath slows without effort. Thoughts soften, losing their sharpness and urgency. The rainfall guides everything into an easy rhythm, steady and warm. Far above, droplets strike the highest branches with a soft, hollow tap. Closer to the ground, the sound becomes rounder, cushioned by moss and leaves. It creates a gentle contrast, like a layered lullaby drifting around you. Each layer blends with the next, forming a smooth, continuous wave of sound. Rain begins to gather along thick limbs overhead. Clusters of droplets join together, becoming heavier with time. When they fall, they do so in slow, weighted drops that land with a soft, satisfying pat. The forest receives each one with patience. Some branches creak lightly as the moisture settles into them. Not loudly, just enough to remind you of their age and their strength. Decades, maybe centuries, of standing through storms and sun. Now they hold the rainfall with the same steady presence. The air cools a little, carrying the clean scent of wet bark. Each breath feels smoother, like the coolness is clearing space inside you. Tension dissolves in small increments, unnoticed at first, then unmistakable. Calm begins to settle like dust in sunlight. Rainfall becomes more even as the clouds above thicken. Not heavy, just steady. A gentle curtain of sound draping itself over the canopy. Everything beneath it feels protected. Drops slide down the sides of trunks in thin, glistening paths. The bark absorbs some of the water, darkening in slow, widening shapes. Other droplets fall freely, hitting lower branches before reaching the forest floor. Each sound blends into a soft murmur that fills the air. The rhythm grows familiar, almost predictable. A pattern of taps, then a pause, then a cluster of falling drops. The steadiness brings comfort, as if the forest is breathing in time with the rain. Your breath follows without needing to try. Awareness drifts upward toward the canopy. You sense the height of the branches, their spread, their quiet guardianship. Rain moves across them in graceful arcs. It feels as if they guide each drop with care. Somewhere farther away, a heavier drop strikes a thicker limb, producing a deep, mellow sound. It echoes softly, then fades into the rest of the rainfall. Moments like this repeat now and then. Never startling, always gentle. They add depth to the soundscape, grounding it. The body grows heavier, comfortably weighted by the steady rhythm. Warmth gathers across the chest and shoulders. Muscles release in slow, subtle waves. Nothing needs to be done except listening. Rain continues its quiet dance. Leaves shimmer with droplets clinging to their edges. Branches shake off water in small, delicate showers. The forest is alive with movement, yet everything remains calm. Even the quiet between raindrops holds its own peace. A short pause, a breath, a moment where everything waits before the rhythm begins again. Those brief silences add softness, rounding the edges of the sound. The rain begins to form small streams on the branches, guiding water along their length. Each branch becomes a pathway, carrying the rain toward the earth. These tiny flows create smooth, flowing sounds as they drop from one surface to another. It feels like the forest is slowly washing itself clean. Awareness drifts deeper as the mind follows these patterns. There is nothing complicated here, no need to analyze or interpret, just the steady tapping of rain on old wood and the slow rise and fall of breath. Time loses its shape a little. Moments blend into one another. The sound becomes a soft backdrop, steady and familiar, like a memory you've always carried. Calm rises from within, matching the quiet rhythm around you. Rain continues to fall in soft lines across the canopy. Each drop has a place to land. Each sound arrives gently and leaves gently. This predictability wraps around you like a blanket. The forest holds everything with ease, the branches, the leaves, the rain, the quiet. All of it works together to create a soft shelter overhead. You are part of that shelter for now. Breath becomes slower still, flowing in smooth, warm waves. The mind drifts towards stillness, guided by the steady tapping above. Every sound blends into the next, creating a deep, restful quiet. Here, beneath the old branches and their gentle rainfall, calm settles fully. The world narrows to soft water, soft wood, soft air, and you are held in that softness, supported by the steady rhythm of rain, fading gently into silence. Rain softens as it reaches the lower layers of the forest. What begins as a steady patter high above becomes a muted whisper near the ground. Every drop feels gentler here, cushioned by moss, leaves, and the cool, quiet earth. The air itself seems to slow, taking on a calm weight that settles easily around you. The forest floor waits in patient stillness. Shades of green gather in thick, soft patches, spreading across stones and roots. Moisture clings to everything, making colors deepen and textures smooth. A quiet comfort rises from the ground, steady and unhurried. As rain touches the moss, the sound becomes softer still. Each drop lands with a barely noticeable hush, like a breath settling into silence. The softness draws you closer, inviting your senses downward, toward the earth beneath your feet. Here the world feels grounded and warm, shaped by years of rain and time. Smooth stones lie scattered among the moss, cool to the touch. Raindrops strike their surfaces with light taps, softened by the damp air. Some roll off in small beads, bouncing gently before disappearing into the greenery. Others spread in thin films, gliding over curves and edges until they fall away. The ground absorbs each drop without hurry. Water spreads slowly through the moss, sinking into tiny spaces and feeding roots hidden beneath. Nothing is wasted, nothing rushed. The forest floor knows how to hold and release, always in its own unbroken rhythm. The air carries the scent of fresh rain and cool earth. It is rich but gentle, wrapping around each breath with a comforting weight. Inhaling feels steady and natural, like the body is matching the slow pulse of the ground. Exhaling brings ease, letting tension melt into the damp, quiet around you. Rain gathers along the edges of stones and slips into small grooves carved by time. The sound is soft, a faint trickle rather than a sharp splash. It feels like the earth is whispering, sharing a quiet language spoken only by water and stone. That whisper fills the space without ever becoming loud. Moss cushions everything here. Its surface is thick and springy, soaking up rain with an almost silent sigh. If you imagine resting your hand upon it, you can sense the coolness, the softness, the steady presence beneath the surface. It holds the rain calmly, without resistance. The ground beneath the moss feels ancient. Years upon years of fallen leaves and softened earth have built a foundation that feels deep and trustworthy. Standing here, you sense that depth, the long history of the forest beneath your feet. It holds you the way it holds the rain, gently and securely. Raindrops continue to fall in steady patterns. Some strike leaves still attached to low branches. Others slip directly onto the moss, disappearing without a sound. The mix creates a quiet, layered rhythm that eases the breath even further. Each sound arrives softly, as if the forest has lowered its voice to match the stillness. The tone around you grows hushed, as though everything has leaned in to listen. This closeness adds a sense of comfort, a sense of being protected. Awareness drifts into that comfort with ease. As you focus on the ground, the world above fades a little. The higher branches and distant sounds feel farther away, softened by the dense canopy. What remains is the quiet intimacy of moss, stone, and rain. A small world, slow and peaceful. Rain pools briefly on the stones before slipping away. Some droplets merge with others, forming tiny streams that wind between roots. These tiny movements create subtle sounds, almost too delicate to notice unless you're settled and still. Yet those sounds bring a deeper sense of calm. Breath settles lower in the body, warm and even. Muscles loosen without encouragement. It feels natural to sink further into stillness, the same way the rain sinks into the moss. Everything softens, inside and out. The forest floor feels like a place made for rest. Nothing sharp here, nothing abrupt. Just cool softness, steady ground, and the quiet presence of earth. A sense of being supported rises gently, spreading through the limbs and chest. The rhythm of rain grows more predictable. Each drop falls with intention, even though it's effortless. The repetition steadies the mind, giving it something simple and soothing to follow. Thoughts drift without direction, lighter and quieter than before. As you stay close to the ground in awareness, the forest begins to feel like a companion. Not a place you move through, but a presence you rest within. Every sound, every scent, every small movement of water blends into a warm, quiet embrace. The air grows heavier with calm, as if the earth itself is exhaling. Moss glows softly in the muted light, rich with life and moisture. Rain continues to fall across it in gentle patterns, leaving tiny dimples that smooth out within seconds. Stones glisten as water moves across their surfaces, reflecting the soft grey of the sky. This world feels complete, whole, and deeply peaceful. Awareness grows, quieter still. Your breath follows the slow rhythm around you. The body feels heavier, as though resting directly on the moss-covered ground. There is a deep comfort in that imagined closeness, a sense of being held with care. Rain keeps falling steady and calm. It wraps the forest in a blanket of quiet sound. Every drop joins the larger rhythm, adding to the sense of gentle continuity. The mind follows that rhythm, drifting toward deeper ease. In this moment, everything becomes soft. The air, the ground, the sounds, even the spaces between thoughts. All of it merges into one slow, soothing atmosphere. You rest within that atmosphere, like a stone nestled into moss. Fully supported, fully at ease, the forest floor holds you in its quiet patience. Rain continues its whispering conversation with moss and stone, unbroken, unhurried. You drift with it, carried by the gentlest sounds the forest has to offer. And slowly the world narrows to softness, groundedness, and the quiet comfort rising from the earth, fading into deep stillness. Rain lightens as it falls, softening into a cool mist that gathers close to the ground. The air feels different here, smoother, as if every breath has been cooled and slowed by the forest. Moisture rises gently from the earth and begins to drift upward, forming thin veils that move between the trees. Everything feels quiet, softened by this pale, floating light. Mist wraps itself around the trunks in slow spirals. It stretches into long, delicate strands that drift with the faintest movement of air. Nothing here is hurried. Even the mist seems to glide at its own unbroken pace, carrying a calm that sinks in without effort. Light filters through the haze in soft, muted tones. Shadows blur, edges fade. The whole forest feels as if it has stepped into a dream, where the shapes of things matter less than the warmth and stillness they carry. You drift with that feeling, carried by the quiet. As you breathe in, the air feels cool and smooth. As you breathe out, the body loosens, letting tension fall away like water slipping from a leaf. Each breath becomes slower, deeper, following the gentle rise of mist from the ground. It feels like breathing within a cloud, warm and comforting. The mist moves upward in slow waves. Sometimes it gathers in small pockets of fog that rest near the roots. Sometimes it lifts in strands that weave between branches, rising toward the canopy. Watching it, if only in the mind, brings a sense of floating, light, and unanchored. Raindrops continue to fall above, but their sound feels distant now. The mist softens everything, turning sharper taps into muted taps, and softened taps into whispers. The forest listens quietly, accepting the rain with the same calm rhythm it always has. This is a place that knows how to rest. As the mist drifts upward, it brushes gently against moss, bark, and leaves. Tiny droplets cling to every surface, shining faintly before merging into the air again. This quiet meeting of moisture and wood creates a hushed atmosphere, warm and fluid. It surrounds you with a softness that feels almost weightless. Farther into the trees, the mist grows thicker. It moves in slow sheets that blur distance and shape. Nothing is sharp here. Nothing is defined. The world melts into gentle outlines, wrapped in a calm too deep to disturb. The body mirrors this softening. Muscles yield. Breath slows. Thoughts drift like mist themselves, rising, fading, returning, without urgency. Nothing pulls at the mind. Everything simply floats. A faint breeze stirs, moving the mist in delicate swirls. They twist gently, never breaking apart too quickly. This slow motion brings a sense of drifting, as though the forest is breathing around you and inviting your breath to follow. Each inhalation feels longer. Each exhalation falls into a soft, easy release. Light continues to dim through the haze, not because the day is ending, but because the mist wraps around every beam, softening it. The forest glows in muted colors, quiet and serene. This dimness brings comfort, like being wrapped in a warm, familiar blanket. As you imagine walking deeper, the mist rises around your shoulders, then your face. It cools the skin gently, leaving a light, refreshing touch. Even this imagined sensation brings ease, reminding the mind of rain, clean air, and the calm that follows. Everything feels softer when wrapped in mist. The sound of rain shifts again. Some drops fall straight through the haze, landing with a faint tap. Others are caught by branches or leaves before they drift down. The mist catches the sound, softening it from every angle. Each sound fades almost as soon as it arrives. This fleeting quality brings an airy, floating feeling, as if noise cannot stay long enough to disturb the quiet. The forest seems suspended in a gentle pause. As the mist rises higher, it thins into a delicate glow. You sense it moving upward, drifting past branches and vanishing into the canopy. This upward pull brings a feeling of lightness, almost as though the weight of the day is lifting with it. The mind follows slowly, detaching from heaviness. Everything becomes slower. Breath, thoughts, awareness, even the passage of time feels stretched, softened by the haze. The forest invites you to drift along with it, moving at the pace of mist rising through cool air. In this softened world, the ground below feels far away. Not lost, just distant enough to make you feel as if you are floating slightly above it. Quiet grows even deeper, settling into every space around you. There is no rush, no demand, nothing to push against. The mist curls around tree trunks in slow, looping motions. It lingers in hollows and rises from fallen logs. Its movement is steady, carrying a sense of ancient calm. You breathe with it, gently and naturally, as if sharing the same rhythm. The forest becomes a quiet dream of shapes and soft edges. Nothing stands out sharply. Everything blends into everything else. This blending brings a sense of unity, of being part of something slow and peaceful. You settle into that unity, letting it surround you. The mist continues to rise, carrying with it the day's last bits of warmth. It feels like the forest releasing a long, soft breath. You release yours in return, warm and slow. The match between breath and mist feels natural, comforting. Rain remains present, but softened to a drizzle somewhere above. Its sound is faint and far away, leaving more room for quiet. The world feels lighter, suspended between moisture and air. You drift in that suspension, held gently by the calm. Here, the mist lifts the last bit of weight from your thoughts. Nothing feels heavy anymore. Nothing feels urgent. Only softness remains, rising and falling, like breath inside a cloud. The forest holds this calm with ease. Mist continues its quiet movement through the trees. Rain falls in gentle threads above, and you rest within it all, drifting softly with the rising haze, easing into complete stillness. Rain has been falling long enough, now that the forest begins to shift in quiet, gentle ways. What once was only scattered droplets has gathered into small pools along the roots and stones. Water collects, joins, and begins to move, forming thin, whispering streams that awaken beneath the surface. Sounds of rain, the world grows softer as these new rhythms begin to unfold. At first, the sound is faint, a light trickle somewhere near your feet, a tiny tap as water slips from a leaf and meets a shallow puddle. These small sounds weave together in delicate patterns, guiding your attention downward toward where the earth begins to breathe. The ground absorbs much of the rain, but some of it starts to travel. It finds pathways carved through years of storms and seasons. Little channels open between roots, curving around stones and fallen branches. The movement is slow and effortless, like the forest guiding the water home. Soon a small rivulet forms beside you. It runs over smooth pebbles, making a faint, clear sound that blends easily with the rainfall above. Each pebble shapes the water in its own way, shifting it from a soft hiss to a gentle bubbling. The sound is warm and steady, like a breath released without effort. More streams awaken as the rain continues. One flows in a thin line across a patch of moss, sinking into its softness before reappearing on the other side. Another forms at the base of a tree, circling its roots with quiet persistence. These movements create a peaceful, flowing rhythm, neither fast nor still. The forest feels alive with these new sounds. Water gathers, spills, and continues forward, always finding a way. As you listen, the body starts to follow the same rhythm. Tension softens, thoughts drift, everything begins to flow. The rain above softens further. Its steadiness becomes a backdrop for the forming streams. In the quiet beneath the canopy, the new sounds feel close, almost intimate. Each small movement of water carries a sense of release, like something inside you, loosening in time with the flow. A thin stream crosses your imagined path now, winding through small dips in the earth. It is barely an inch wide, yet it holds its own voice, light, bright, and soothing. The sound rises and fades as the water moves over different textures. The forest shapes its melody with the gentle curves of the land. Here and there, droplets fall from branches and land directly into the small currents below. Each drop creates a tiny ripple, spreading outward before fading into the flow. Watching those ripples in your mind feels calming, as though each one carries away a small piece of the day's weight. The forest quietly accepts whatever the water brings. Farther away, a deeper, softer sound emerges. It could be a small creek waking from its rest, fed by the rainwater moving through the forest floor. The sound is low and warm, rising from beneath the layers of soft trickling nearby. It brings depth to the moment, grounding the lighter sounds above it. Water moves between roots in twisting paths, slipping through narrow spaces with gentle confidence. The roots guide the streams like natural channels carved by time. There's a harmony in the way water and earth interact. Nothing forced, nothing rushed. Just a simple, steady movement that encourages your breath to follow. The air grows cooler as the streams strengthen. Moisture rises lightly from the flowing water, adding a soft freshness to every inhale. Each breath feels smoother than the last, like the body is becoming part of the flowing rhythm itself. Warmth spreads through the chest and shoulders, flowing outward in slow, easy waves. Small stones shift slightly as the water moves around them, not loudly, just enough to add a gentle, grounding note to the soundscape. These tiny adjustments make the streams feel alive, changing shape moment by moment. It reminds you that the forest is always moving, even in stillness. The longer you listen, the more these streams begin to feel familiar. Their presence feels supportive, like a quiet hand on the back. They carry a sense of release, as if each drop of water lifts away something heavy. You drift with that feeling, letting it ease through the mind and body. A wider pool forms near the base of a fallen log. Water gathers there before spilling gently over the edge, creating a soft, steady spill. The sound is smooth and rounded, soothing in its predictability. Its rhythm feels like a soft exhale repeated again and again. In the distance, the creek deepens, its voice becoming fuller as more rain feeds into it. The sound remains gentle, never rushing, never sharp. It is the forest's way of settling into the rainfall, welcoming the water as it joins the larger flow. You may sense that same settling happening within you. Even the smallest trickles have their own voice. A thin stream rolls over a piece of bark, creating a delicate tapping. Another slips through a cluster of pebbles, making a soft rustling sound like warm breath on cool air. These little sounds add layers to the quiet, weaving a tapestry of calm. Time stretches as the streams grow stronger, The world feels slower, shaped by water, moving steadily toward deeper places. The forest holds these sounds like a cradle, gentle and protective. You rest within that cradle, feeling the same flowing ease. As the rain continues, each drop becomes part of something larger. A greater rhythm, a greater movement, a gentle gathering of water and calm. You follow that movement inward, letting it carry away the last traces of tension. The streams glide over the forest floor with quiet purpose. They move through the landscape with ease, showing how smoothly things can flow when nothing stands in the way. That sense of ease settles into you, warm and steady. The sounds blend now, trickles, taps, soft spills, distant murmurs. Together, they form a single fluid presence that surrounds you with comfort. Every sound supports the next, just as every breath supports the one that follows. You rest within this flowing world, feeling the forest guide you into deeper calm. Water continues its gentle journey, carrying the day's weight with it. You drift with that release, sinking into the warmth of the moment and settling into quiet, fluid stillness. Rain continues to fall in a steady, gentle rhythm, softened by the layers of leaves overhead. The world feels quieter here, calmer, as though the forest has drawn its breath in close. A sense of shelter rises around you, subtle at first, then unmistakable, warm, steady, protective. This is a place where the body can settle without effort. The trees stand tall, their trunks broad and steady like old guardians. They have weathered seasons, storms, and time itself, and they hold their strength in silence. Standing among them brings a deep comfort, a sense of being watched over without pressure or expectation. Their presence is grounding, like a hand resting softly on your back. Above, the branches stretch outward and upward. They curve and cross, forming a natural arch that feels almost like a cathedral. Rain touches the leaves at the very top first, landing with a soft patter. By the time it reaches the lower branches, the sound has softened into something warm and muted. Layers of leaves catch and cradle every drop. Some droplets cling for a moment before slipping down in slow trails. Others fall in gentle cascades, softened by each leaf they touch. The canopy transforms the rain into a tender, soothing rhythm. The deeper you move beneath these towering trees, the more enveloped you feel. The air becomes stiller, warmer, held close by the trunks and the layers of greenery. You may notice your breath slowing here, matching the calm of the canopy. Each inhale fills with quiet warmth. Each exhale melts into the soft hush of rain. A sense of protection settles in your chest. It arrives gradually, like a warm blanket being lowered over the body. The branches overhead feel like arms reaching out to shield you. Their calm presence invites the mind to loosen and drift. Rainfall takes on a new tone beneath this shelter. It becomes more rhythmic, more predictable, more soothing. You can sense the pattern of it. Soft taps above, gentle taps closer, then the faintest whisper as drops meet the forest floor. This layered sound settles into you, easing tension with each repetition. The forest feels like a cocoon now. Warmth gathers in the space between the trees. Moisture in the air softens every sound and shape. Nothing feels distant or sharp. Everything blends into a gentle, nurturing quiet. You may imagine sitting or resting, near the base of one of these ancient trunks. The bark is firm, textured, and cool. Leaning against it feels grounding, as though the tree shares some of its strength with you. The trunk stands unmoving, steady through every season, and it holds you in that same steady way. Above, leaves shift slightly in the light breeze. The movement is small, barely noticeable, but it adds a quiet sense of life to the shelter around you. Rain continues to fall across them, creating a soft, full sound that seems to wrap around your entire being. It feels like the forest is humming a lullaby meant only for you. Every sound supports the next. Every breath supports the next. Everything aligns in an easy, natural flow. You begin to feel held by the moment, as though the forest has created this shelter just for your rest. The trunks around you form a gentle circle. Even if you don't see them clearly, their presence feels comforting. They act as a shield from the outer world, creating a sacred stillness within. Here, nothing interrupts, nothing intrudes. The body responds deeply to this sense of safety. Shoulders drop a little more, muscles soften, breath moves with more ease, a warmth begins to rise from within, quiet but steady. Rain above becomes a soft backdrop. It no longer feels external. It feels like part of the space you occupy. The sound moves through you rather than around you. It guides the body toward deeper rest, deeper softness. The forest floor beneath the canopy is thick with fallen leaves. They dampen the sound of each drop that reaches them, creating a muted pat that blends smoothly with the rest of the rain. This softness reinforces the feeling of being sheltered, wrapped in a warm, quiet world. Branches overhead continue to shift with slow grace, not enough to disturb the air, just enough to remind you that you're surrounded by living things. Their movement is subtle and soothing, like a slow exhale. As the minutes stretch, the rhythm of rain becomes the rhythm of your breath. Each tap and trickle nudges the body further into ease. The mind drifts lightly, following the warmth that spreads through your limbs. Awareness softens and expands, floating gently through the quiet. The canopy feels like a vast roof held up by kindness. It shields, comforts, and calms, all without asking anything in return. This is a place where weight lifts easily, where tension dissolves into the air. You can rest here without effort, without thought. The rain adjusts again, becoming slower and more even. Its consistency deepens the sense of being cocooned. Nothing breaks the rhythm, nothing startles. Everything remains warm and steady. The warmth of the space beneath the canopy encourages deeper surrender. The body grows heavier in a pleasant way, as if sinking gently into the forest's embrace. Thoughts drift farther away, lighter with each breath. The quiet around you feels endless, soft and safe. Above, the canopy continues to cradle the rainfall. Below, the earth holds you with unwavering support. Between them, you rest in a space designed for stillness. Rain continues its gentle song overhead. The ancient trees stand silent and strong around you, and you settle into that shelter, wrapped in warmth and calm, drifting deeper into the quiet held beneath the great canopy. Rain falls in a quiet, steady rhythm, soft enough that the world feels like it is breathing along with it. The air moves gently through the trees, rising and falling in slow waves. Every part of the forest seems to follow this rhythm. Peaceful and unbroken, you can sense the whole landscape easing into a single, shared breath. The branches sway with the movement of the air. Not far, not fast, just enough to create a soft, graceful motion. Leaves shift in small, rounded arcs, brushing lightly against one another. The sound is tender, like a whisper carried on warm breath. The forest feels alive in a calm, steady way. A quiet pulse moves through it, subtle but present. Rain guides that pulse, falling with patient consistency. Each drop seems to match a rhythm deeper than sound. As you breathe here, the inhale draws cool air shaped by rain and moss. The exhale sinks into the earth around you, soft and slow. Breath becomes part of the forest's own movement, joining the rise and fall of branches overhead. This shared rhythm invites the body to settle even more deeply. The wind moves again, drifting through the canopy. It rises gently, lifting leaves and branches a little higher. Then it falls back into stillness, carrying a warm hush through the air. Each wave of wind feels like a long, slow breath, expanding and relaxing. Rain taps across the forest in soft patterns. Some droplets strike leaves with crisp notes. Others slip down trunks in long, smooth paths. The forest receives each sound and folds it into its quiet breathing. Underneath the rain, you can sense the trees themselves. Their trunks stand grounded and strong, holding the gentle pulse of life within them. Their roots stretch deep into the earth, anchoring them in calm. They breathe with the land, slow and certain. The air carries a freshness that feels soothing to the mind. Cool moisture settles on the skin, comforting in its softness. Warmth spreads through the chest, matching the steady rhythm around you. Each breath becomes longer, smoother, more effortless. The forest moves in harmony with the rainfall. Branches sway, leaves brush, air shifts, and rain continues to fall, all of it blending into one slow, unified motion. You drift within that motion, held gently by its calm. The ground beneath you feels steady and warm. Even though the rain falls above, the earth offers quiet support. It absorbs the sound, softening each drop into a muted pat. This grounded presence makes your breath feel deeper and more connected. Wind rises again, this time carrying the faint scent of wet bark. It passes through the canopy with a low, soothing hum. Leaves flutter softly in response, creating small waves of sound. These movements make the forest feel like it is breathing all around you. As you listen, awareness sinks deeper into the rhythm. There is no separation between breath and sound. Rain falls, air rises, branches sway. Everything moves in slow unison. The breath follows naturally. Inhale, rising with the cool weight of mist. Exhale, falling with the warm hush of rain meeting the earth. Each cycle feels smoother than the last, and the body softens with it. Rain continues its quiet song on every surface. Some drops fall straight to the ground. Others slide down branches before drifting off the edge. The pattern never breaks, never presses, always stays gentle. The forest's voice feels warm and familiar. It speaks in rustles and low hums, soft tapping and distant sighs. All of these sounds move with the same steady pulse. Nothing interrupts the calm. Deeper within, the trees shift slightly with the movement of the air. They creak in the faintest way, a sound almost too soft to notice. This subtle motion brings comfort, a reminder of life moving slowly and peacefully. It encourages the breath to match that pace. Mist rises between the trunks in thin strands. It lifts with each airy inhale and settles with each quiet exhale. Watching it in your mind brings a feeling of floating. The mist moves at the same speed, your breath now does, unhurried and smooth. The more you rest here, the more the forest feels like a companion. Its breath becomes your breath. Its calm becomes your calm. Its slow, steady rhythm flows through your whole body. Warmth grows in the spaces between the ribs. The chest expands with ease, as though nothing inside is trying to hold on. Exhaling releases whatever is left, letting it dissolve into the quiet air. Even the smallest tension begins to drift away. Rain deepens slightly, tapping more fully across the canopy. The sound wraps around you, warm and continuous. It blends with the wind and the gentle sway of branches. This merging of sounds creates a cocoon of soft motion. Breath meets that cocoon with gratitude. Each inhale feels like being welcomed. Each exhale feels like being held. The rhythm becomes a shared language between you and the forest. The trees breathe through their leaves, through their roots, through the movement of the wind. You breathe with them, connected in the simplest, warmest way. The shared rhythm eases every part of you. Even thoughts feel slower, softer, quieter. Rain continues to fall in its calm, even pattern. The forest shifts gently with the air. Your breath rises and falls in peaceful harmony. Everything moves together, warm and slow. And as the forest breathes in the rain, you drift with it, settling deeper into that tender, steady unity. Rain continues to fall in soft, steady patterns as the light begins to change. The day slowly loosens its last bright edges, and the forest settles into a deeper, richer quiet. Shadows lengthen between the trees, dimming into gentle shapes that blend softly with the cool air. Everything feels slower now, as though the world has begun to exhale. The canopy above darkens in a gradual shift. Leaves no longer catch the same brightness they held hours ago. Their colours mute into deeper greens and greys, softened by the fading light. The rain on them becomes rounder, warmer, more soothing. As dusk settles in, the air grows thicker with calm. Moisture gathers close to the ground, cooling the skin in a comforting way. It is the kind of coolness that quiets the mind and invites the body to rest. Breath moves more slowly, naturally falling into a nighttime rhythm. The forest begins to move differently as the light dims. Branches sway in slower motions. Leaves shift with a quieter rustle. Animals hidden away in their shelters grow still, preparing for rest. The entire landscape feels like it is settling into its own bedtime. Rain becomes the main voice of the woods. Its gentle tapping forms a steady, rhythmic background that encourages thoughts to soften. The sound is warm and familiar, like a nightly lullaby nature has sung for ages. With each passing moment, it carries you further into ease. A soft glow lingers along the horizon, fading behind the trees. The remaining light spreads gently, filling the forest with a muted, peaceful haze. This dim glow gives shape to the trunks and low branches, but without sharpness. Everything appears softened, held within a blanket of dusk. As the world darkens, a sense of heaviness begins to settle in your limbs. It's not the heaviness of burden, but the comforting weight of evening. Muscles release their grip, breath sinks deeper into the chest. The body begins to follow the unhurried pace of nightfall. Rain trickles gently down the bark of trees, forming thin lines of movement. Each drop that falls adds to the rhythm of evening calm. The streams formed earlier in the day slow into quiet flows. moving in steady, hushed patterns. You may feel yourself matching that unbroken flow. The forest takes on a slight chill as night steps closer. It isn't cold, just cool enough to soften the edges of the day's warmth. This temperature shift feels soothing, like stepping into a darker, calmer room. It signals that the world is ready to rest. Shadows deepen between the roots and stones. They gather softly at the bases of trees, pooling like gentle pools of dark water. These shadows hold no fear, no tension. They are simply part of night's embrace, comforting in their depth. Rain continues its quiet descent, each drop catching the last bits of light before blending into the darkness. Some drops fall with clear notes, others with muted taps. All of them contribute to the steady, unbroken sound that fills the forest. This consistency brings ease, smoothing out the edges of lingering thoughts. As night moves in, the forest becomes almost entirely still. Only the rain continues moving, guiding everything toward rest. The sound seems to come from every direction, above, around, and softly beneath the canopy. This full, surrounding presence offers a deep sense of safety. Breath follows that safety with ease. Inhale, slow and full. Exhale, long and quiet. Each breath feels like it sinks more deeply into the body. The mind drifts gently with it, like a leaf carried on soft water. The trees stand tall in the growing darkness. Their silhouettes blend into the night sky, strong and unwavering. Being beneath them brings a feeling of being protected, held by something older and steadier than anything in the day. Their presence encourages the body to relax even further. The air grows heavier with moisture and calm. You may sense a quiet hum of nighttime life beginning. Soft chirps, distant rustles, but all of it blends into the gentle rain. Nothing interrupts the calm. Everything feels wrapped in one continuous, soothing moment. As darkness settles completely, the forest glows in its own quiet way. Not with light, but with stillness. A deep, full stillness that sinks into the body like warm comfort. Thoughts grow slower, softer, drifting without direction. The mind releases any need to hold on. Rain becomes softer still, falling in thin threads from the canopy. Each drop adds to a calming repetition, steady enough to lull the body deeper into rest. The sound is smooth now, rounded by the night and softened by the leaves above. It feels like the world whispering itself to sleep. The cool air of night wraps around you gently. It carries away any remaining tension, brushing it off like dust in the breeze. What remains is warmth in the chest, softness in the limbs, and quiet in the mind. Everything aligns with the calm of evening. Shadows blend completely with the trees as night deepens. Only the soft sound of rain remains clear. It fills the stillness, rich and steady. Each moment feels slower, drifting, unbound by time. With the day fully gone, night brings its own kind of peace. A peace that is steady, comforting, and unhurried. A peace that asks nothing of you except to rest. It is easy to surrender to that peace beneath the soft showers of night. The forest rests, the rain continues, the world grows silent around you, and you drift with it, settling deeper into the warmth and quiet of nightfall, easing gently into stillness. The rain softens as you move deeper into the forest. What was once a constant rhythm above becomes a distant hush, steady and quiet. The air grows still in a different way here, calmer, heavier, holding a sense of age and presence. It feels like stepping into a more ancient part of the world. The trunks around you grow wider, rising like pillars into the dim light. Their bark carries deep grooves, each one shaped by decades, maybe centuries, of rain and wind. Standing near them brings a quiet sense of awe, gentle and grounding. These trees feel older than memory, older than the forest you walked through before. Light barely reaches the ground in this place. What little comes through is softened by mist and layers of leaves. The shadows here are slow and deep, blending with the earth in smooth, rooted shapes. Nothing feels rushed. Everything seems to move at the pace of time itself. The rain above creates soft echoes as it falls across the massive branches. Some drops strike the canopy with muted taps. Others fall from great heights, landing far away with a faint, rounded sound. These echoes settle into the stillness, creating long, gentle layers of quiet. As you walk, the ground beneath your feet feels different. It is soft with old leaves, thick with years of forest life. Each step sinks slightly, cushioned by the earth's patient accumulation. This softness invites the body to relax even more deeply. A quiet reverence rises in the air, not from anything seen, but from the feeling of being surrounded by life that has stood for ages. The presence of these colossal trunks brings calm, as though they are silently watching over everything. Their stillness becomes your stillness. Breath slows naturally in this space. Inhale, cool and steady. Exhale, warm and unhurried. The body responds to the deep quiet, the way the forest does, settling, softening, grounding. Mist lingers close to the earth in this part of the woods. It gathers in soft patches near the roots, then rises in delicate strands toward the branches. The movement is slow and weightless, giving the air a dreamlike quality. It feels like the forest is exhaling in slow, endless breaths. Rain that reaches the ground lands with a quiet pat. Some droplets fall from leaves and strike the earth in heavy, rounded taps. Others drift down in thin lines, barely making a sound. Each small noise adds to the sense of ancient peace. The deeper you move inside this space, the more the forest begins to feel like a sanctuary. Not built, not created, simply a place time has shaped into silence and calm. The air feels warmer here, as though the trees are holding the rain at a gentle distance. Their branches create a broad, protective canopy that wraps the world in stillness. Even the wind moves differently here. It doesn't rush, it glides, it slips between trunks with a soft, low hum, bringing with it the scent of wet bark and cool earth. Each shift in the air feels like a long, steady breath. The sound of rain from far above carries a faint echo, softened by distance. It falls through layers of branches before reaching this hidden heart of the woods. Each layer transforms the sound, turning it into a warm, quiet murmur that drifts like a lullaby. You feel that murmur settle into the body, deep and grounding. The trees stand close together now, their immense trunks forming gentle walls of calm. Being near them brings a sense of protection, as though they hold the night at bay. Their presence feels wise, patient, and reassuring. You can feel that patience spreading through you. The world grows almost entirely still. Rain continues, but softly, thinly, like a distant memory of rainfall. The silence between each drop holds its own weight, its own quiet comfort. This is a place where thoughts naturally slow their pace. Breath deepens again, becoming longer on the exhale. The chest expands with ease, then releases all tension on the out-breath. Each cycle feels more spacious than the last, as if the forest is lending you some of its timeless calm. You inhale the ancient quiet, you exhale into deep rest. The path narrows into a small clearing surrounded by colossal trunks. Here the air feels even more hushed. Rainfall from above becomes a soft, distant shimmer. The earth beneath is warm despite the moisture, holding a steady comfort. This clearing carries a feeling of being at the very heart of the woods. Everything around it feels older, deeper, quieter. The stillness here is profound but never cold. It wraps around you gently, inviting the body to settle fully. You may sense the slow pulse of the forest here. Not a sound, not a movement, just a quiet presence that fills the space. It is steady and warm, like a heartbeat beneath the earth. Your own rhythm begins to match it. Thoughts drift into the background until they feel very far away. The mind grows spacious, open, unburdened. Every inhale brings a sense of softness. Every exhale releases a little more weight into the warm, quiet air. Rain continues to fall above, but its sound feels like a soft echo, reaching from another world. Only the gentlest notes make their way into this sacred space. Those notes fall with long pauses between them, stretching out in slow, peaceful patterns. The pauses hold you as much as the sound. The forest feels infinite here, stretching far beyond what you can see or sense. Yet the clearing feels intimate and close, like a small sanctuary held within its vastness. That balance creates a deep sense of ease, grounding and expansive at once. You rest in that balance effortlessly. Everything around you stands in a calm that has lasted longer than any memory. The rain, the shadows, the ancient trees, all part of a quiet world shaped by time. That quiet moves through you gently, settling into every part of the body. The ancient woods hold their breath. The rain whispers softly, and you rest in the heart of it, wrapped in reverence and peace, drifting deeper into timeless stillness. Rain falls in a soft, unbroken rhythm, steady enough to dissolve the edges of the world. The sound wraps around you like warm night air, gentle and familiar. Each drop seems to land farther away than the last, as though the forest is drifting into a quiet dream. You settle deeper into that hush, feeling the body grow heavier in the most comforting way. The canopy above gathers the rainfall and sends it downward in slow, softened threads. Some drops slip from leaf to leaf before reaching the earth. Others fall straight through, their sound cushioned by the moss below. Every sound blends into one warm, velvety backdrop. The ground beneath you feels steady and safe. Its warmth rises through the cool air, spreading slowly through your limbs. The longer you rest here, the more the earth seems to hold you, like a gentle cradle. Your breath matches that held warmth, slow and smooth. Shadows deepen into soft shapes as night settles in fully. Nothing moves abruptly. Nothing pulls your attention away. The world narrows to the quiet space around your body and the sound of rain falling in patient patterns. Breath drifts outward in long, easy waves. With each exhale, something inside releases. A small weight loosens. A thought dissolves. The mind settles into a soft blur, calm and unhurried. The forest around you seems to breathe as well, Branches rise ever so slightly as wind moves through them. Leaves sigh in gentle sways, brushing one another in slow, tender motions. These movements are subtle, almost imperceptible, yet they deepen the sense of being held. Rain lightens for a moment, becoming a faint whisper across the canopy. Then it gathers again in a slow, steady flow. Each shift feels natural, like the forest is adjusting its blankets for the night. You drift with those shifts, carried by the flow of sound. The world feels softer now. Edges fade, distances blur. Everything becomes a continuous field of quiet warmth. Thoughts, if they appear at all, drift in like mist, and drift out again without staying long enough to matter. The steady rhythm of rain becomes the rhythm inside you. It moves through the chest in slow pulses. It steadies the breath. It quiets the mind. You feel each drop as part of a larger, gentle lullaby. The air holds a calm coolness that soothes the skin. Moisture settles lightly on the breath, smooth and easy. Your body responds by relaxing deeper into the space beneath you. Muscles soften, jaw loosens, shoulders settle. In this quiet, even the sound of your own breath feels distant. It doesn't demand attention. It simply moves in and out, like the forest breathing in the dark. Nothing interrupts the stillness. Distant streams, awakened earlier by the rain, continue their quiet flow. Their sound is low and rounded, blending with the rain's gentle tapping. Together they form a soft, flowing harmony that welcomes you into deeper rest. There is no separation between the sounds, only one warm, continuous atmosphere. The canopy spreads above you like a calm night sky. It shields you from the heavier sounds of the rain, softening everything before it reaches your ears. This sheltered feeling encourages the last bits of tension to fall away. Your body yields to the comfort without effort. Warmth gathers at the center of your chest, glowing gently like a small, steady ember. It spreads outward, moving slowly through the arms, the legs, the back. As it spreads, the heaviness of sleep settles in, deep and grounding. The mind follows, drifting into that warmth. Rain grows quieter again, thinning into a fine, soothing drizzle. It falls in slow patterns, each drop spaced a little farther apart. This spacing creates a natural silence between sounds, long enough to encourage the next breath to deepen. You drift into those silences, floating in their calm. The forest becomes almost completely still. Leaves hang quietly after each gentle sway. Air moves in small pulses, barely enough to stir the mist. Even the rain feels softer, as if it is preparing to lull the night into deeper rest. Time slips away here. Moments blend together in a warm, seamless flow. Nothing feels rushed. Nothing feels expected. Only the drifting sense of safety remains. Your breath becomes quieter, barely noticeable. It moves like a faint tide, slow and steady. With each inhale, the body accepts the forest's calm. With each exhale, you sink deeper into comfort. The softness around you grows thicker, like warm darkness settling into your muscles. It moves through the mind as well, dimming the spaces where thoughts usually wander. Awareness blurs gently, rounding its edges, becoming lighter and lighter. Rain continues its slow, steady song overhead. It feels more distant now, like a memory of rainfall rather than the rain itself. Each drop seems to guide you toward the edge of sleep, carrying you there effortlessly. There is nothing to resist and nothing to do. The world grows quiet. Your body grows still. Only the warm, velvety rhythm of rain remains. You rest within it, held in complete comfort, drifting softly, falling gently, settling into the deep, peaceful quiet of sleep. Rain continues in a soft, steady rhythm, quiet enough that it feels like part of the air. The forest has settled completely now, wrapped in night and calm. Every sound is smooth and muted, shaped by layers of leaves and the warmth rising from the ground. You rest within this hush, held gently by the quiet around you. The canopy above shelters you in a deep, comforting darkness. Its branches create a soft roof that turns every raindrop into a rounded, soothing note. Nothing is sharp. Nothing is sudden. The world has faded into warmth and shadow, peaceful and unbroken. Breath moves slowly, carrying the forest's calm with every inhale. Each exhale sinks a little deeper into the space beneath you. Muscles loosen in small ways you barely notice. Thoughts drift into the background like mist, softening into the dark. The forest feels warm, steady, and timeless. It holds its stillness without effort, the way ancient places do. That stillness settles into you as well, easing through your chest and limbs. It fills the spaces where tension once lived, smoothing them into quiet. Rain falls in thin threads through the tall branches. Some drops travel far before landing. Others fall from nearby leaves, close enough for their soft tap to reach you clearly. This slow blend of distant and near sounds creates a cocoon of gentle rhythm. The air carries a faint coolness that soothes the skin. It mixes with the body's warmth in a comforting balance. Nothing feels heavy now. Nothing feels busy. Everything eases into calm. The forest floor beneath you holds a steady, grounding warmth. It supports your weight without asking anything in return. Its presence anchors you in the soft, dark, quiet, and safe. You settle more completely into that support, drifting toward full rest. In the stillness, even the rain seems to move more slowly. Each drop takes its time. Each sound stretches gently before fading into silence. These long, unhurried moments create a natural cradle for your thoughts. The world has thinned into muted shapes and distant sounds. You sense the trees standing steadily nearby, tall and patient. Their strength feels close and comforting, like a warm presence in the dark. They watch over the forest without noise or movement. Breath drifts in and out without effort now. It matches the forest's rhythm, slow and soft. Each cycle feels like it carries you a little deeper into ease. A gentle weight spreads through the body, pulling you toward quiet rest. The rain creates a soft shimmer in the night, faint but steady. It fills the air with a low, soothing hum that smooths the thoughts in your mind. Nothing sharp rises. Nothing pulls you back to the day. Only this warm, slow rhythm remains. Your awareness grows lighter, as though the edges of the mind have softened. Thoughts move slower, drifting without direction. Even the shape of your breath begins to blur slightly, becoming part of the quiet itself. It feels like sinking into a soft cloud of night air. The forest embraces this quiet fully. Every movement has stilled. Every creature has settled. Only the rain continues, gentle and constant. The final voice of the night. Warmth collects in the center of your body, spreading to your hands, your legs, your back. It settles there and gentle, steady, soothing. Each breath fans that warmth, helping it spread further into your limbs. The body loosens completely, floating in its own calm. Rain becomes even softer, thinning into a delicate whisper. It falls in slow, steady lines that barely break the silence. This softened sound deepens the quiet around you. It carries the last bits of wakefulness away, drop by gentle drop. The forest seems to fade into a deeper stillness. The air is warm and steady. The ground holds you with quiet care. Rain continues only as a soft echo, easing everything into rest. Your breath slows again, long and smooth, almost weightless. Awareness drifts to the very edge of sleep, warm and safe. Thoughts dissolve in the dark, leaving only softness. The world narrows to the gentle rhythm of rain. Warmth surrounds you, stillness settles through you, and you sink into that quiet, drifting further and further into peaceful, lingering rest.